Good afternoon, Buffs fans. Hope you guys are having, excuse me, a wonderful Tuesday. I'm off to a great start. Got a little lunch break, and I thought that I would hop on here, talk some Buffs. Man, I got a few things to get out of the way. First off, big shout out to my good friend Martez. As always, SCO Buffs, use that promo code to get 10% off all of his awesome apparel. I'm hoping to secure an interview with him, uh, getting his story, his take on everything that's happened here with Colorado, and for you guys to understand, the man, the face behind the hat that I wear, behind the Colorado Retro Ralphie tee, all of that. So, really looking forward to having Martez on, hopefully this week, either tomorrow or Thursday. And yeah, y'all hit that like. Y'all let me know in the comments who's watching. Would always appreciate that. Other housekeeping item. Uh, I want to thank Sherry for reaching out to me in an email, letting me know that, man, I was pronouncing Colin Moore's name wrong this entire time. I apologize with that. And she was gracious enough to send me an email to let me know that I've been pronouncing Colin's name wrong this entire time. So I did reach out to Colin to let him know, to apologize, and that will not be an issue going forward. So again, just learning as I go. And Sherry, if you're watching this, that was greatly appreciated. So, with that being said, let's move on to the Buffs. Let's talk about the Buffs. Right, some very exciting news. We see not only is Aaron Butler gonna, or is, dang it, Boo Carter gonna be here this weekend, but Aaron Butler is going to be coming for another visit, and maybe it's gonna, help kind of seal that deal with Boo Carter because they are very close. Again, I feel like Aaron Butler's father has alluded to the fact that there is a lot of momentum behind Boo Carter coming out here on his own dime. This is not an official visit, so he has to pay for everything. He's coming out, traveling with money, using money out of his own pocket, and that's a big deal. And I woke up this morning and I saw that my Boo Carter video got like a ton of views. I was like, wow. And I was reading through the comments and they're all pretty interesting. But I got a question. Guys. How come it's like if they commit to the Buffs instantly, they're locked in, they're one of these guys, we'll root for them. But, if currently CU is their number 2 or 3 or 4 option, I see this a lot. It's just, they're just labeled as using CU for clout. Can a man just have options? Can a man just, weigh out his options? This is one of the biggest decisions of their life. And sometimes I just feel like that's going a little too far or a little ridiculous. Yes, I understand with some of these guys that have announced their commitments, they've had CU in their top 4 or 5 without even visiting the school. But I think with Boo Carter's case, or with Charles Lester, the interest is definitely there for this program, and they might be committing right now, be committed to a school that would not be our top choice. Obviously, we're Coach Prime fans, Colorado fans, but that doesn't mean just because they don't have CU right now as their top choice that they're just using CU to clout chase. I think that's kind of a lazy take, and it kind of it just takes out of all this other nuance, with these equations, um, and with these decisions. Just like you probably do, along with myself, when I'm looking for a job, I'm fielding all sorts of different offers. I'm trying to get a feel for what is going to be the best decision for me. And yeah, that's really the point of it. And so I do think we'll see some of these commitments, flip to CU, and there's going to be more interest throughout the year. But I think just because we can't have every recruit, guys. I want every recruit, but we can't have every recruit. And just because Colorado might not be at that number 1 spot for some of these prospects, I'm not so quick to go, especially with Boo Carter, who is coming out here for his second visit now on his own dime, to just say that he's a clout chaser. I don't agree with that. I mean, y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I kind of feel like I might be a little bit more in the minority of opinion with that, but I mean, it's just business, baby. That's how I look at it. It's just business, and you absolutely should cast the net wide for your recruitment and see how things play out throughout this year. I think we're in a great position with some wins on the board. And like Coach Prime has said today, I mean, we haven't even played our best football yet, right? I mean, we're still getting there. And this is going to be fun to watch to see how this team improves. And I think we'll have a very strong class. It might not be the largest class, but I think that's intentional. And the transfer portal class, I think this next year is going to be killer, and we'll have to see what happens, moving forward in the class of 25. Now, again, Aaron Butler, man, he is killing it right now. I am going to go ahead and pull up his stats again because he had about 50% of his receiving yards last year in these first two games already. So that is very impressive. And I saw a little clip of him on Twitter recently, and it looks like, man, he is just absolutely killing it his senior year. I don't see how this man isn't going to be rated as a blue chip 5-star. But man, let's take a look here at his varsity 23-24 stats. If my computer will load. Oh my goodness. Just insanity right now. So here are his receiving totals right now through 4 games: 28 receptions for 586 yards. That is a 20.9 average. We watched earlier in the year his 90-yard touchdown reception. That was just a couple weeks ago. That was awesome. And he's already got 5 total touchdowns on the year. Man, right now Calabasas is actually off to a 1-3 start, which is a little surprising. They've lost a lot of close games. Lost 21-28 against Santa Monica. They won against Oak Park 48-28. Lost 30-48 against Capolay, I believe is how it's pronounced. And then lost by 1 point this weekend, 53-54 to Agura High School. So with Aaron Butler putting up a massive stat line, 5 catches, 106 yards, and a touchdown, 74-yard long reception for the game. I mean, that's very impressive. And again, he is just a shade under 600 yards. To put that in perspective, Aaron Butler last year had 28 catches for 830 yards. So right now he's at 28 receptions for just under 600 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. I think he's on his way to eclipse that definitely. So that's very exciting stuff. I love it. What? Looking at these comments. What is Old Helmet saying, man? Anyways, Lejeune, thank you for tuning in. Brother, mark it down. Arch Manning to the Buffs in 2025. Holy moly, would I love that. Obviously, Arch has I'm going to go out on a limb and say his favorite uncle out here, right? It's got to be his favorite uncle. I think Eli's pretty cool, but I mean, Peyton's got to be the better uncle out of the two, right? And coming out here to play, I mean, that would just be incredible. It would be amazing. We'll see what Quinn Ewers decides to do, because I do think that he's somebody that could go to the NFL after this year. But again, I think that he could have the opportunity to get that number 1 spot next year, if he were to come back. And maybe Arch looks to go. But I think Arch is a patient guy, and the University of Texas was his dream school. He was a Texas fan his entire life. Since he was a little kid. So, it might take a little bit to pull him away, but that would be pretty cool, man, to see him transfer here, play at Colorado. Just right down the road from where his uncle played, won a Super Bowl, should have won an MVP. But Adrian Peterson also had a great year. But yeah, I think why would Arch Manning transfer again? Texas kind of has a loaded quarterback room right now. I know about Quinn Ewers, Lawrence, but that other guy that they got, Murphy, I believe is his last name. He's a really good quarterback too, and I think he could start for a lot of FBS programs. In college football. So uh, that would be really interesting. I would definitely see the odds as being kind of slim right now, but as a Broncos fan, as a Manning fan, I mean, I'm all for it, man. I would absolutely love it. So yeah, K Jamo. Hopefully, I pronounced your name correctly. Says appreciate your content. I really appreciate breaking down the recruiting, etc., along with day-to-day updates. Well, thank you so much. Man, I just have so much fun with this. It's always great to get on here, talk with all the fellas, and it would be, um, a dream one day, maybe if I can do this full time. But man, I love that you appreciate my takes. I don't expect y'all to agree with me all the time on anything. And again, I'm just like a normal guy, that you would find talking at the sports bar too, or at the coffee shop. If you just want to talk Buffs, come here. You can have a conversation with me. Like I have said, I'm not DNVR. I'm not a fancy production. I don't have all this fancy access, but look at me as somebody who might be chilling in the corner at the DNVR bar. You know what I'm saying? So, which by the way, if you haven't been there, wonderful experience. That was a great place to catch some of the away games for the Nuggets playoffs uh, run this past year. It was awesome. New Avenue saying we don't want Arch. Yeah, could be really interesting to see what happens. I mean, we have Danny O'Neal. I need to take a look at some of his huddle tape because he's put out a highlight reel for his first 4 weeks now going into the season, and man, he seems to be lightening up, really passing the ball. And again, we had that quarterback that I believe is originally from Boulder, but is now playing quarterback out in Florida somewhere. 4-star guy. I cannot remember his name, but he was here this past weekend for the Nebraska game. Why am I forgetting his name? I should not be doing that. But then, of course, Bryce Underwood planning to visit here on an official visit for USC as Lawrence Collins got on here to chat about a little bit ago. So that it's going to be fun to see who ends up being the starting quarterback after Shador because I think the program is going to be in a place where it's going to attract the top talent. And I think whoever we get in there, whether it's a transfer or a freshman or, yeah, a guy that we've had that's recruiting, if they're going to be starting for this program, it's going to be because they're going to be darn good, you know? Yeah, we got an interesting quarterback room right now with Danny O'Neal, Jason Wiseman, Gavin. Can't forget about Ryan Staub as well. Um, yeah, like I see those guys right now as more developmental guys. And I would expect and I would hope that they would take big leaps, going into next year as well. But yeah, if right now, and this is just my opinion, right now, if Shador were to leave for the NFL draft after this year, um, I would feel pretty nervous about the quarterback room right now. It would be nice to have a guy like Bryce Underwood coming in here, man, that's going to be 6'5", 6'6", that could sling it around. But he's in 25, so yeah, we'll just have to see. And y'all correct me if I'm wrong, or like give me some insight with this, but we've had some different 3-star quarterbacks start here during their true freshman year. You know, during the I guess CU's dark ages or so. But how often are 3-star guys starting after coming in as a true freshman or just after 1 year? I'm curious kind of what you feel like the typical thing is. Um, Lawrence, yes, Malik Murphy. Thank you for providing me his full name. He will likely transfer versus Arch. I think you're probably right with that. I mean, Texas definitely wants to see what Arch can do. But man, Malik Murphy, he can really play, and he would be a guy that I would be very interested in if Shador does leave. After this year, I'm hoping he doesn't. But Malik Murphy can really play. I think that would be very interesting. And I mean, Malik can really make plays with his legs. Well, I think with this new avenue, I don't want to take too much stock in the spring game. Really, um, yeah. I mean, they're just spring games. We're talking about practice, right? You know, um, my friend Jacob is in here trolling me. Um, if y'all need some woodworking done in Oklahoma City, be sure to hit up my friend Jacob Thompson. He's phenomenal at it, and we made some pretty good furniture in post college when we were living in Texas. But it was mainly me just kind of standing around drinking some beers and then watching him build something. It was pretty fun. But I think with a lot of freshmen, you got to give them time. Even if they're 5-star guys. I mean, we have a guy like that right now that is taking some time to get up to speed in Cormani, and I'm not worried about that. Right now, and sometimes it just takes some time to adjust. That's all. But man, if he's still looking bad in his second, third spring game, I guess that criticism's fair, and hopefully we can see him get into some of the games because, yeah, I'd like to see what he does, and that's what I'm looking forward to with Colorado State as well, because uh, I'd like to see some of the different quarterbacks and some of the guys who haven't gotten on the field yet get some rotation, get some snaps. I would love to see what Ryan Staub can do after building off that week last week. Again, he made a few really good passes and feeling that pocket presence, that just takes time on the field to kind of work out. That strip sack. I mean, we all saw it coming. We were all like, no. And I mean, he got his back cracked. Uh, but he'll learn. And, I'm excited to see what happens this weekend. Yeah, Lawrence. See, I mean, great minds think alike. Absolutely. Too early to judge, just like Cormani, and I'm always willing to give a guy a big pass on really any sort of result for their freshman year. And if we get some playing time and we get some production, like we're getting out of, for say, Carter Stoutmeyer or Dylan Edwards, I mean, that's just icing on the cake, right? I mean, it's awesome. All right, off topic. There is no off topic. We can talk about whatever you want. Y'all let me know, anything that y'all want to speak on. I'll go here for a little bit longer. Off topic, is Cam taking that starting spot from Shiloh? He took it at Jackson. He doesn't miss as many tackles. That is true. And I think with Jackson, he was also Shiloh, kind of coming back from that ACL. From what I understand, it wasn't until the last maybe couple games where he was kind of on the field in more of a full-time scenario or more part of that full-time rotation. We'll have to see. I think that with how Cameron Silman Craig played, whether that is, having him in there instead of Shiloh or instead of Miles Slusher, I think he definitely needs more time on the field. Man, I loved what he did. But again, I think Shiloh does have to, clean up some of that tackling. But just like we talked about last night, or maybe it was 2 nights ago, I can't remember. But Shiloh is always around the ball carrier, and and that's something to, that's something that we can't overlook. For the most part, I feel like he does take very good angles, and he had some very solid tackles on Saturday as well. Solid tackles on third down. Good open field tackles. I felt like he improved from TCU into that Nebraska game, and we'll have to see kind of what the rotation um, looks like. Because again, I mean, we got guys like Travis Jay and Brandon Gant coming in here too. Gant's he seems to me kind of like a hybrid player as well. So, man, I feel like the competition is going to be fierce, and I would hope that, you know, the best guys will play. That's my hope. The best guys play. Dante Moore already took that starting job. Well, I think we all kind of, well, I don't know. I mean, Arch is good, but I mean, Dante Moore was that guy, right? I mean, for most of the year, right? He was rated as that top quarterback. And I think it's kind of true. Was Manning kind of lifted in his ratings because he carries that name? If his name is Joe Schmo, is he kind of recruited at that, at that level? I don't think so. So I think some of that has to go with it. But yeah, Dante Moore looks great. He looks great. You're right. Nico is threatening Joe Milton already. Man, yeah, I'm a big fan of Cameron Silman Craig, and I was pumped when he chose number 7 because that's the jersey I have right now, CU number 7, and yeah, I was like, great, that's awesome that Cameron's wearing that because it's nice to have a player to relate it to, and definitely one that you like and you're a big fan of. Yeah, but I love our safety room. I feel like that might be our deepest position right now on the team. It's either that or wide receiver, I think. Maybe running back, but I put wide receiver and safety group right now at the top. Those for me are the top. And I think our running back and cornerback room is, right there. But I think we got the depth at the safety position where it can just be that next man up, the safety and star position. And Lawrence Collins, you're bringing up a great point. I forgot that Colin Schlee transferred to UCLA. Yeah, he's more of just he's like I feel like who Matt Rule was hoping Jeff Sims could be. Has some arm talent, definitely a primary runner, but can get the ball down the field. But yeah, the amount of talent between a guy like Colin Schlee or Jeff Sims and Dante Moore is substantial. And it's been cool to see off topic as well. Jane Rashada, getting time this early at Arizona State. Obviously, there are going to be, it's not going to be perfect, your first year and stuff like that. But I think Arizona is going to be very well off for kind of giving him this year to get comfortable with things. And, as Kenny Dillingham's building that offense for real. So, yeah, he's been another quarterback that I've had my eye on. Reef coming in. Shiloh's only going to get better. He's a dog for real. Yeah, I agree. And speaking of Shiloh again, I'm going to have Bill Carroll on. I've had him on the show 2 or 3 times so far, NFL Draft Scout. I'm going to have him on Thursday to chat, everything Buff Shador, and he's a big fan of Shiloh, so it will be interesting to get his opinion right now and his performance throughout the year, as well as a lot of different buffs that he's been following for a long time. So very excited to see what Bill Carroll has to say on Thursday. And New Avenue, you bring up a good point here. Yeah, but Arch could have went anywhere to compete. I totally agree with that. I think again, some of it has to do with he wants to go play for his dream school. I think that has to do something with it. And I mean, uh, you saw the numbers on like what they were Texas was spending on his official visits last year and all that and the tomahawk steaks and the fancy dinners and all that sorts of stuff. So they really rolled out the red carpet for him. And I think he knew that it was going to be, he was going to have to wait his turn for a little bit. But yeah, if things aren't looking good, going into next year, if Quinn Ewers decides to return, could that encourage him to transfer so that he can, start getting on the field, putting that tape out? Because we know the goal for him it will be the NFL. So, but yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Quinn Ewers. But I think he's in an interesting spot because right now I don't think that he's like in the top. I don't think Mel Kiper, for instance, had him in his top three quarterbacks right now. And I don't know if people will see him as a first rounder right now. I mean, y'all let me know in the comments. Do you see Quinn Ewers as a first round pick right now? I mean, maybe if he continues this consistent play throughout the year, because I mean, he looked great against Alabama. He finally connected on some of those deep balls that he's struggled with throughout his career. So it was great to see his improvement in doing it at Alabama of all places was really impressive. And I think, right now the top four teams, what do we have? We have Georgia, we have Michigan, we have Texas, and we have Florida State. I forget the order, but it's those four, and those are definitely the four that I see right now with the to get into the college football playoff. But Florida State and Texas, if I think their quarterback play could elevate them to beat the schools like Georgia and Michigan. Lawrence Collins, we talked a little bit about this, um, you know, when you hopped on a little bit ago, just how Michigan with JJ McCarthy, like they've won with him, but he hasn't exactly been the reason why they've won. And I think in the college football playoff, that quarterback play could put you over the hump. I mean, Texas, man, they looked deadly. This past week, that defensive line was unreal. Their receivers were making plays. They have a very stacked running back room yet again, just after losing Roshan Johnson and Bijan Robinson. I mean, that true freshman Baxter just looks like a total beast. And then one of my favorite players on the Longhorns is that tight end they got, Sanders. Man, that guy is deadly every time he catches the ball, right? He is he is a beast. He's a beast of a player. And I think Texas, with returning, close to 80% of their talent this past year, they were primed for a big year. They were very close last year on winning the conference. And of course, you had those typical Texas meltdowns, but they were close. And I think this year the expectation is for them to, be that team coming out of the Big 12 with the last year in it and making that college football playoff and getting to a national championship. So that's David, do you like Jay Norvell? Man, that's an interesting question. I like him more than the other Norvell. I'll put it that way. But I think he's a fine coach. And I think Colorado State, I liked what they did. What they did, it required some big balls to get him, to poach him from an in-conference rival of Nevada, paying him a bunch of more money to come out to Colorado State and rebuild the Rams program. I think he's a good coach. Obviously, when you're rebuilding a program like CSU, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a while. They had a ton of people leave in the portal the past couple years and just, trying to get guys in that are coming in for this new staff, So, but yeah, again, like with this rivalry, it's kind of like CSU kind of hates us more. And we kind of just see CSU as like little brother. So, of course, like we want to put them in their place and, slap them around on Saturday. Of course, take care of business. We definitely need to do that. But when the Rams aren't playing, CU, I root for them. I want them to do well, just like Air Force. All the big time college football programs. I want to see Colorado do well. So, I think he's got the program in the right direction, but again, fans are going to need to be patient. It's not going to be something overnight with like what we're experiencing here. Now, I've seen some of the comments that he's made or whatever, or, made some comments, I guess, throughout the offseason. And, if coaches want to talk, be my guest, that's fine. And again, this team is just pros at keeping receipts, and they're going to find every little thing. Um, to take hold of to uh, create that added motivation going in. So I love that. That's one of my favorite characteristics about this team and about this coaching staff is that they keep receipts. They listen. I was saying the other day, Coach Prime, he's kind of like Santa Claus. He knows everybody, and he knows if you're on the good list or the naughty list. He knows. So, um, when you're talking about this program, you better be very careful about your choice of words, because it will be used against you, right? Your Miranda rights. Is that what we say? Anything you can say or will say, or can say. I don't even know. I need to go back and watch 21 Jump Street. So then I can know the Miranda rights. But great question. And then salute to all in the Cadillac. Man, I love that nickname. That is that's that is an awesome nickname, the Cadillac. Man, it would be fun to get a Cadillac here eventually. All right. Anything you say can or will be used against you. That's what it is. You got to know your Miranda rights when you're talking about this football team, this program, right? Because I mean that's what we've seen. We've busted out the receipts after every game. So I love it. I love it. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up here. I'll be back later today. I'll hopefully be connecting with Big Dog later today. We're still trying to work things out, but yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot of news to talk about later today as well. And the man above, I'll answer your question before I go. What's your bet this week, bro? Gonna make a call on my bookie tomorrow and get on something. I like a good two-teamer. Oh man, well I haven't looked at any of the odds this past week, so let me see here really quick. I'm gonna have some fun. I did put down like $20 on. Again, it was a small bet on CU cover the spread. So it's not like what I was betting on TCU or Nebraska. But like I said on my tweet, which I had the huts flipped. Sorry about that. But I'm going to go with CU against the spread, like moving forward until they don't cover. Because I think right now they're still given favorable odds, against Oregon, for instance. They're plus 14 and a half. I think that that game against Oregon is going to be it's going to be a lot closer. So let's see here. Let's bring up couple of these matchups, man. I would love to get a betting sponsor, man. I think that would be a lot of fun. I've kind of gotten into this year, and I mean it's been a lot of fun. If you've been a believer in this team, we're all cashing in. Lawrence Collins knows. Let's see if we got like a top 25 matchup. Dang, there's not a lot of great matchups this weekend. No wonder all the places are coming out to Boulder this weekend for the Rocky Mountain Showdown. Okay, Tennessee versus Florida. Right now, Tennessee is a 6.5-point favorite on the road. Uh, Florida looked, they looked rough, man, against Utah. That could be something to look at. And also, they're minus 250. But I could definitely see Tennessee getting a double-digit win, even though it's in Gainesville, right? So that might be something interesting to look at. Let's see what else we got here. Texas taking on Wyoming. I'm not going to touch that. TCU taking on Houston. Right now, TCU's a 7.5-point favorite on the road to Houston. Man, uh, I think I still would like them to cover on that, to be honest. But again, this is not betting advice. And yeah, I think that's all I got for you. But I still like I still like CU against the spread. Minus 23.5 against Colorado State. We should do very well. I wish I got in earlier on that 17.5 point spread. But it is what it is. But I think our team should handle business here. So, um, yeah, we'll take the plus 14, right? I again, I think yes, like this team. Once we get into conference play, Vegas, they're not going to know how to bet this team the entire year. That's just what it is. They're going to continue to shut up. And Lawrence Collins, yes, please hit me on Twitter, man. Hit me up on Twitter, or you can email me um, at what is my email? davidtalksbuffs@gmail.com. And I can make sure that I get something going where a time that you're available to come on chat, because I love that. I love that. And yeah, plus 600 on CU being Oregon. Ooh, see, that's those alternate lines. That's what I need to look into. I need to spend some time looking into that. Plus 2,300 on being Oregon by 14 or more points. Man, that would be beautiful. So he's got money on both, man. A man of his word, man. Yeah, it could be fun to put a little bit on. So I appreciate your guys' time as always. I'll be back later today, and appreciate every single one of you. So thank you so much, New Avenue, Reef, Lejeune, The Man Above, Lawrence Collins. Who else we got? Who else we got in here? I think there's some other people in earlier. Jacob Thompson, my good friend, and Kay Jamo. Y'all have a great one. I'll see you guys later. Sco Buffs.